Yes, good afternoon. Welcome back to DR Sports for the very, very, very last game day preview of the season. You've got myself, AGT, and you've got this fella, Matisse.
Good to see you, brother.
It's good to see you, mate.
Good to see you.
As
Finally,
always.
we've come to the end of the season. It's been a long season. I'm tired. Drained.
Tired isn't the word, mate.
I feel disgraced.
Tired is not the word. You should definitely feel disgraced, but I feel equally frustrated, my friend.
Dismantled.
But Gundogan is world class, brother.
He is world class, but he's not Iniesta Xavi level.
There was a tweet I sent yesterday. I stand by it. I said something along the lines of Gundogan is up there for me with the Xavis and Iniestas.
That's mad.
This man had a lot to say about it.
Mad.
But listen, it's irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. Let's get into this one then. As I mentioned, the last one, make sure you smash that like button. We do apologise for being late. We were dealing with some audio technicalities.
Yes.
I think they call it in the industry, Matisse.
Yeah.
But we're all working now, so make sure that you do comment and obviously subscribe to DR Sports if you haven't already. Just shy of 300,000. Well,
mad.
292k. But the more you guys subscribe, the closer we can get there. Maybe it's even done by the end of the season.
Who knows?
Who knows? We can only pray. Right then. All these games kick off at 4:30 on the Sunday. We're also going to be previewing the £100 million Championship playoff final, plus talking about who's to get relegated, because everything else is kind of done and settled, really.
Basically, Conference League place, and that's about it, from between Tottenham and Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Basically, towards the end.
The relegation fight is interesting, and of course, Luton versus Coventry tomorrow to fight for that place in the Champions League. They can only wish. In Premier League, I do apologise. Right, Southampton, a team that we know are already down, face my team Liverpool at St Mary's. 4:30 kickoff, as we know. Salah has been involved in 17 goals in 14 Premier League games since the start of March, more than any other player in the competition. That time he was obviously looking to get one more goal, Matisse, to take him to 20 for the season. And if he plays in this game, James Milner, it will be his 16th appearance on the closing day of the Premier League season, the joint most with Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Jamie Carragher and Gareth Barry.
Gareth Barry, man. Whenever it comes to appearance records, Gareth Barry's always in there, every time.
And it's not good for Southampton, the team finishing bottom of the table, as we know. They've won their final Premier League game in just one of their last, any guesses? 20.
Whoa.
1 in 20.
I was going to say 12.
Yeah, you should have gone more. And that was Sheffield United beating Burnley 1-0 in 2021. So,
what's going to happen here? They're going to lose, aren't they?
You know, I was on the Red Men TV last night. We were talking about this game, and I think if you sausages did us a favour last night, which you never do, Fulham did us a favour, then we'd put our best 11 out. But now it's just
I could have told you that we weren't going to do you any favours last night.
I know you
everybody knows.
I was still hoping for a little something.
You're not going to get a little something from us. Yeah, I'm not.
I'm leaving with.
If I'm not getting something, you're not getting something. Do you know what I mean? This team. Do you know what I mean? They are they're horrendous. But in terms of this match, you'd have to back Liverpool to go all the way. Even though Liverpool are going to be on they're going to be in second gear. Season's done. European League football's confirmed. But Southampton are having an awful season. They're obviously relegated, bottom of the league. They're the only team to stop Man City from doing the quadruple, because they did beat them in the cup, but that's not going to keep them in the Premier League. It's weird with Southampton, because when I've watched them, I've thought, they beat us. Like, I did look at Southampton. They took points off Arsenal twice as well, 2 draws. Like, Southampton are the weirdest team to go down. They deserve to go down, but there have been moments where I've seen quality and I've seen good play, and I've thought, maybe there's something to this team. I wouldn't be surprised if they do very well in the Championship next year. Out of all the teams going down, I know they're statistically the worst, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do the best out of the teams going down.
Yeah, they've lost 10 in the last 11 games against Liverpool. The 1-0 exception was a home win in January 2021. As I just mentioned, there's nothing really on this game. So does Jurgen Klopp play the likes of Kelleher? Does he give Milner a run out? Does he play Simicast? Does Nat Phillips come in?
Where's Carvalho?
Does Arthur Melo get a few minutes? Carvalho as well.
Is Carvalho fit?
He's fit and ready.
He should play. He should play.
I'd start him.
I think Carvalho has been basically missing this season. We haven't seen him at all, and it's kind of surprising.
Bits and bobs.
Especially,
I think he scored 4 goals this season.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising with the fact that the position that Jones plays. I would have thought that Carvalho maybe would have been suited for that position as well. Not maybe to start, but at least come off the bench. So I would like to see Carvalho, but Kelleher, Arthur Melo, these are pointless players, to be honest.
Kelleher's a legend, a Liverpool legend.
Is he a legend? For the penalties.
So he's faced 6 penalty shootouts. We've won them all.
Okay, give it to him.
Played like 18 games.
Arthur Melo's a waste of time playing.
But he is. But do you just give him a couple of pity minutes at St Mary's? Because what else are you going to do?
I'll just play a good team, win the game, finish season on high.
That is one half of the argument, for sure. Let us know what you think. How does Jurgen Klopp face this game? Let's jump into a couple of super chats. I totally forgot we were live there, to be honest. AGT will have all of the technology in front of him and still get the stats wrong, says Earth Extremities. Thank you for your belief in my statistic abilities. There's a couple of super chats to get through here. LFC fans are entitled. They won one Premier League in 30 years. Europa League isn't bad, says Doe. There you go.
Spoiled fan base.
Yeah, of course. AGT, typical Southern glory hunter. Well, not according to you, because we've missed out on the glory of the Champions League. And I live in Liverpool, mate, so hold that one. Score predictions. What are we feeling?
3-0 Liverpool.
3-0 Liverpool.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll be covering this one on the Sunday football show, I should say.
Football.
Yeah, 3-1 Liverpool.
Okay.
I think Lavia might get one. And then, obviously, he might get a new club.
Did you see that video of the fan asking him to stay?
Yes, I did.
Lad,
those videos never work, though.
You need to stay, man.
Them videos
rough
never
out
work.
in the Championship for a year will do you good. Loads of good.
I wouldn't play Arta even if he said, "Hey DW," says Toby Larone. Get it?
No.
Hey Arthur. His sister's called DW.
No.
Over your head? Fair enough. We'll move on. Brilliant. Let's talk about the next game. Manchester United versus Fulham. Another home game for United. They've, of course, confirmed the top four last night. Mitrovic, 14 goals for him this season.
Yeah.
Matisse obviously had a big ban in between that as well. 3 in his last 2. Only Clint Dempsey and Dimitar Berbatov have ever netted more in a single season for Fulham.
Oh, I get the Arthur reference now.
You shouldn't have to explain the jokes, and then they should just...
But yeah, Mitrovic was suspended, obviously, for his altercation with the referee.
Is that what we're calling it? An altercation?
Yes, an altercation. Well, what do you want to call it?
It was aggressive.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But yeah, that was a suspension. So to still finish on 14 goals is quite something.
Decent.
It's quite fair to him. Maybe he could have hit closer to 20 if he'd been available. You could have
still
had
around 1 and 2.
Yeah, an Ivan Toney type season with the 20 goals hit. So very good season for him. Especially like from my perspective, I didn't think that he would kind of follow up his brilliant Championship season with a really, really good Premier League season. I thought he'd be okay, but I didn't think he would be great. I thought he'd come up and just do decent at best, but he has proved me wrong in that regard. He's been really, really good, and he's led that Fulham team to a strong season. Does he get a move now from it? I don't know. I think it's probably maybe best to do one more season at Fulham minimum. I think maybe just consolidate yourself, settle, because I think in terms of making a move, you'd want to hit that 20 mark just to really push yourself out there and say, listen, I am serious and I am going to be consistent. It's not a Grant Holt situation where we get one good season out of you in the Prem.
Grant Holt, a great
Grant
reference,
Holt?
Of course. You know what? A funny story, right? Just randomly on, now you've said that name, I've got to tell it. Where I used to work, there was a girl who was having a few of us back to hers for a few drinks after this works do, and she said, "Oh, my housemate's got this football player. It's 6 foot. It's on the wall. It's a big picture." And you know what I'm like? Oh, what player is it? Because you nerd, we like to know these things. She's like, "Oh, he's wearing like a yellow and green top," and I'm thinking, must be Brazil. I'm thinking Ronaldinho, Ronaldo. Walk in, it's a 6 foot picture of Grant Holt in a Norwich kit.
Wow, that's a bit random, isn't it?
Who has got that?
Jesus, that's
that?
mad.
But someone does.
He had a great season, though, to be fair.
He did. Fulham have lost their final league game in 4 of the last 5 seasons. They don't end well. However, Manchester United have only lost 1 of their final Premier League game in 1 of their 9 campaigns in which they've contested the FA Cup final. And that was losing to West Ham in 2007, the famous Carlos Tevez goal. That led to so much controversy around the transfers. So Manchester United, Fulham, pretty much a dead rubber, this one, isn't it?
Aren't they all? I'm going to give Man United a win, fresh off that battering of Chelsea at home yesterday. Brilliant. I wouldn't even say it was brilliant from them. I would just say that Chelsea are so bad that it can make anyone look brilliant. Man United could have scored more goals in that game if they were more decisive with their final pass or their final decision making. Hit the bar a couple of times. It really could have been 7. But they did leave themselves open a bit in the first half, and they could have conceded against a competent team who can finish. So I would say Man United, it's good for them to be on some sort of upward momentum, to get goals, to get confidence, I'd say they're going to win this as well, because they're going to need all of this going into that game against Man City. Man City, if they give Man City the chances they gave Chelsea in the first half, the game will be over at Wembley. So I'll give Man United a 1-0 win against Fulham. They've got a great home record. They've only lost once there this season against Brighton on the opening day, and they don't concede many goals at home as well. So Felix one was a consolation last night. I'll give him a 1-0 win.
1-0 win. I'm going 1-0.
1-0,
because why not?
Yeah.
Which would have been a great result if Chelsea had actually done something for us last night. But again, we digress.
Handle your business yourselves. Don't ask for favours, and you'll be fine.
You know what? He's so right as well. If we'd have just beaten Chelsea earlier on in the season, we wouldn't be in this mess.
You dropped points twice.
100%, my friend. Leicester versus West Ham. Leicester, one of the 3 teams that could go down this Sunday. They could face expulsion from the Premier League. Let's look at some of the stats. West Ham's Jared Bowen has had a hand in 5 goals in his last 5 Premier League games against Leicester. 3 goals and 2 assists. His most goal involvements against any top flight team. James Maddison has been involved in more Premier League goals than any other Leicester player this season. 10 goals, 9 assists. Good numbers. The only player to reach double figures for both goals and assists in a single campaign, Riyad Mahrez, right? Got 18 in 2015-16 and 17-18.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Leicester have won just 2 of the last 12 Premier League home games, which isn't great, as we know, drawing 2, losing 8, failing to keep a clean sheet in those 12 matches. Both of their victories in this run have seen them concede the first goal. And obviously Liverpool, I was at the King Power last week. 3-0
win.
Disappointing for Leicester as well, but West Ham know that Leicester are fighting for their lives. Leicester know that West Ham are maybe taking things a little bit easy.
Don't want to get injuries.
Until that final. They don't want to get injuries. They're definitely going to rotate the team.
Yeah.
So how does this match actually happen? Like, what happens in this match? Because it seems like both teams are
Leicester
got their own situations.
Leicester have to win the game. If Leicester don't win the game, they're relegated. So for me, Leicester have to win the game, so they will win the game. Because like you said, West Ham have got
good logic.
Yeah, like if they don't, then they deserve to go down. Like West Ham, this is the least thing on West Ham's mind. They've got a Conference League final, massive moment in their history coming up, and they don't want to pick up injuries. We saw last night Anthony get injured. Whether or not he'll be able to play the FA Cup final is skeptical. So West Ham players will be thinking about, protecting themselves and maybe even Moyes, like you said, will play a rotated team, because West Ham are safe. I think they're on 40 points. It's done. Their season hasn't been great in the Premier League, but they have the opportunity to qualify for the Europa League and make it into a great season and win a trophy, which is most clubs right now can't say that. That should be saying that. So I think for West Ham, they'll I'm not going to say they'll let it be a walkover, but if Leicester even want to be in this league next season, then they'll beat them, and convincingly. I'm going to go over Leicester 2-0 win, because it should be that.
Right, okay.
It should be that.
I'll go 1-1.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, they're that bad for you, where they're just like not even able to put
on paper, they're not. Because we've seen the players, we've seen how good they are. But from what I saw the other week, it seems like if they concede the first goal, they've got absolutely no bottle or fight in them. And they do deserve to go down. The table doesn't lie, but I just don't see them pulling up the trees enough to actually beat this West Ham team.
I didn't get to watch Leicester's last game against Newcastle. They drew 0-0 at St James's. Yeah,
it wasn't the worst performance ever. I think Newcastle missed a good few chances. They probably should have won the game. Leicester lucky to hang on.
Yeah.
But there's just something that tells me this is going to be a bit of a score draw. Maybe even a bore as well. Yeah. So I'm going 1-0.
Yeah. West Ham did win last week, but I think the difference between this week and last week is just the days. The days are shorter to the Conference League, so it's like you cannot get injured. It's a non-negotiable. They need to keep themselves fit. Strongest team needs to go out against in that final.
Marshall D. Teach with the super chat. Fun fact: if Manchester United and Arsenal win their final game, Man United will only be 9 points behind Arsenal. Pretty irrelevant.
Yeah, very irrelevant.
London Cowboys official rebrand next season, says Anthony to 1993. I'm thinking he's talking about Chelsea there. Let's move on to the next game. Again, how important is this one for Leeds at home to Tottenham? Rodrigo is Leeds' top goal scorer in the Premier League this season. 13 goals in 30 games, as many as he scored in his previous 2 campaigns combined. Harry Kane scored in 25 individual games for Tottenham this season, the outright most of any player in a 38 38-game campaign. A goal in this match would see him equal Andrew Cole's record of 26 goals scored in games achieved in 1993-4. Quick question, is this Harry Kane's last game for Tottenham?
Yep.
Are you that confident that you can say he's going to be giving it the wave in, throwing shirt into the crowd?
I think this time the big difference is he's only got 1 year left, isn't it, on his contract. He's not going to sign a new deal. And Daniel Levy would be very, very silly, especially with the lack of European football next season, because I don't think they're going to get Conference League, to allow an asset of that quality to go for free next summer. I think that
would be criminal.
Tottenham have messed up on sales. If you look at the amount of money they've made on sales in the last couple of years, it's been poor. They can't afford to make that mistake again. They need to cut their losses. They're not going to get the full figure that they probably wanted, but they're going to get a lot still because he's world class, and they need to invest that money into the squad with a director and with a new manager. They cannot afford to let this guy go for free. I think Harry Kane is almost nailed on for me to go to Manchester United. I just think with Man United, what they need up front, I've always said it feels like a very Manchester United signing under Ferguson way back when you just needed that last cherry on top of the cake to finish it off. Taking the best player in the league and bringing him to Manchester United to finish off the job. Yeah, Teddy Sheringham's, Van Persie's. That's just what Man United used to do. And I think it's just a nailed-on hit. And with the Ivan Toney situation, it only leans further in that ballpark. He'll be cheaper than Victor Osimhen, who is being quoted for 120-30 million pounds by Napoli. So I think Harry Kane, I think they'll go and get him. So it will be his last game for me. And Leeds, you just have to think with Leeds that if Rodrigo had been fit, they'd be safe, because this guy bangs in goals, man. He's had a really, really good season.
Great player,
but he's been out for too long for them to handle. And obviously Bamford's come in and missed loads of chances, some big chances that he should be putting away. But he looks really rusty, and he looks ready for the Championship, to be honest, this season, the way he's been playing. So I think, again, Leeds have to win the game. I think they will win the game, because Tottenham are especially away from home. Tottenham don't care anymore. Their season's done.
Yeah, Leeds have won just one though of their last 10 Premier League games against Tottenham, and that was a 3-1 home win May 2021. And as we said, if they lose this one, they're down for the first time since 2003-04. It will be their first relegation from the Premier League since then. But listen, if they win and they stay up, can you imagine the scenes at Ellen Road?
Would be mad.
And obviously, as we know, Tottenham absolutely nothing really to play for. Not that any of their fans even want to be in Europe really at this stage. But
no.
I'm going to go with Leeds 2-1.
Yeah, I had 2-1 Leeds.
2-1 Leeds.
Let us know. Score, but
let us know what you think to that one in the comments.
Great defence.
Another game that's just so important, isn't it? 4:30, as they all are. Everton versus Bournemouth. Dwight McNeil, top goal scorer for Everton this season with 7 goals.
Mad.
It's the Toffees' lowest scoring top scorer in a single campaign since 2002, when Duncan Ferguson and Thomas Radzinski scored 6. And that's obviously a glaring reason why they are fighting for their lives down there at the bottom. They just cannot score goals. Bournemouth, though, have won 5 Premier League games away this season. Only in their maiden campaign of 2016 have they ever won more on the road. So they could break a record there. Everton have picked up 18 points in the last 17 games under Sean Dyche, compared to 15 points in 20 games under Frank Lampard this season. How do you see this one going? Because, as we know, we've said it for a few different games now, Everton will be fighting for their lives. But Bournemouth, it almost reminds you of the Leicester-Leeds game a little bit, this one, because the away team are kind of feet up, rolling into the stadium in sliders and shorts, ready to hit the beach, whereas Everton have got some big work to do before they can think about doing that. Yeah,
I think Everton, again, they have to win, so they will. I think actually all the teams that need to win will win down there, and Everton will stay up purely because they're in the driving seat. Everton they lack firepower. They really have a very underwhelming attack. They sold Gordon in January. Obviously, he didn't want to be there anymore. He didn't want to stick around for the fight. They've made some really bad business in transfer windows in past years. Dele Alli being one of them, coming in last season when they needed to save in Van der Beek as a loan.
Klaassen from a few years ago.
They've been one of these teams that have always pinched players from the top clubs that have kind of fallen off, like Theo Walcott's and Iwobi's, and it's just been a bit of a mess. But I do think in the end they'll just get over the line, purely because Bournemouth, again, like you said, they're not playing for anything. So it's impossible to match Everton's motivation, especially at Goodison Park with that crowd. They will demand that they stay up. Because if they get relegated at home on the final day of the season against a team on the beach,
can you imagine?
My God, that will be a madness.
I'd love to see it.
The scenes will be insane.
Tendi Item says Everton 2-1, but Bournemouth to score first, leaving it very late in the day for Everton to turn it around. Everton have to win this game. You know, they have to match or do better than the Leeds and Leicester results. So,
yeah,
I mean, they've done it last season, very, very close to the last day. They
feel like a Wigan Athletic.
A little bit.
Where they're just kind of
sneaking it every year.
Yeah, but they're riding their luck a bit. And if they don't fix up this summer, next season,
yeah,
could be.
I'm still in the camp that I'd like them to go down. So I'm hoping for a 2-1 Bournemouth away win.
Wow. I'm going to go over 1-0 Everton win.
1-0 Everton, says Matisse.
Yeah.
Let's go to South London. Crystal Palace host Nottingham Forest. What a season it's been for Forest to stay in the Premier League. Taiwo Awoniyi has scored in 7 Premier League games this season, putting Forest 1-0 ahead every time. He could become the first Forest player to score 4 consecutive top-flight appearances since Stan Collymore, who scored 6 in a row between March and April '95. Eberichi Eze has been involved in 14 goals in 37 Prem games this season, 10 goals, 4 assists, more than any other Palace player, and half of these have come in his last 8 appearances.
Wow.
What a turnaround it's been under Roy Hodgson for Eze. Gets that England call up as well yesterday, as we saw.
Deserved. He was struggling to score goals. It was one of the things that him and Elise, he was kind of looking at. Great talents, really good ball manipulation, good retention, great to watch, but need end product. And he's kind of added that at the end, so that's good. I'm glad to see that because he's a fun watch.
He definitely is a very silky player. He'll be hoping to double those numbers potentially next season. This is the first time Forest are finishing a league campaign away to a London side since 2011 when they beat Palace 3-0 at Selhurst Park in the Championship. So a bit of history in this fixture on the last day of the season. Dead rubber. The deadest of all rubbers. Maybe, you might be right.
I think all we can hope for in a game like this is just goals, freedom, freedom of expression. There's nothing on the line. There's no pressure. Both teams have in the end done what they needed to do this season. I think Crystal Palace finishing in 12th. It might be maybe 11th. Is it? I think they're 11th above Chelsea. I think that is it's a good season for Palace. Like, you know, going up from there is it requires serious investment. You look at who's above them in terms of you got Brentfords and Fulhams, and that's kind of the pack. But then after that, it's big investment from Villa, Tottenham. You expect, you know, so. Yeah, I think Palace, that's a good season for them, very good season. Roy Hodgson has really turned it around. And for Nottingham Forest, they've done very well. They've stayed up. So, again, job done from their side of things. They brought in a lot of players. To integrate them was always going to take time, but now we've started to see a few gems come through. I think Gibbs White has been getting better and better, which is good because he cost a lot of money as well. And their striker, their number 9, started banging in the goals as well. After what I watched against Man United at the City ground, he was horrendous, but he's...
Awoniyi.
He started to get some goals.
Scored the winner against Liverpool.
Yeah, he did score against us. So, he started to come up with the goals now. So, good for him. And I just want goals. I think maybe... I say 3-2 Palace.
3-2 Palace.
Yeah.
I'm going 0-0.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a dead rubber.
Do you want to have fun on the Sunday football show?
Of course I do. But hopefully this is me jinxing that, and it's reverse psychology maybe. What a season it's been with great content from everyone. Already looking forward to the next, says Matthew AFC. Love that. Thank you very much, mate. It's been a pleasure to make the content for you. It does feel, we were just saying it before we came on air, this has felt like the longest season of all time ever.
Yeah.
Because of the World Cup, because of everything else. So, I'm going for a 0-0 draw. But again, Palace potentially pulling away from Chelsea in 12th place if they can win that one. Let's talk about Chelsea at home to Newcastle. Again, this match could have meant so much on the last day of the season. Newcastle, congratulations to them, already qualified now for the Champions League. What an achievement from Eddie Howe. It's unbelievable. But on the other side of things, Frank Lampard, surely this is his last game in management, full stop, is it not?
Thank you. It's over. This is the last game this season, last game I have to see Lampard in charge, last game I have to watch this team play football. It will be a pleasure to hear that final whistle blow. I will celebrate. The confetti will be out, the balloons will be popping, the food, the ice cream, the drinks will be flowing, everything. I'm going gallivanting. I'm going skipping. I'm skipping rocks at the park. I'm feeding the ducks. I am going to be so happy when it's done because this has been awful. And 8 defeats in 10 1 draw and 1 win.
Wow.
Is just
there's relegation form, and then there's that.
This guy, man, he cannot get a job in the Premier League again. I think even Championship, like,
but do you think
it's a struggle?
On a serious note, I mean, we're looking at his record. It's horrendous for Everton
shocking.
And Chelsea this season. It's worse than shocking. But
yeah.
when he sits down at the end of the season and has a think about next season, what's his job going to be? Does he quit management?
Pundit.
Just stick to doing that.
Just be a pundit. Just be a pundit,
Wow.
man. Like, it's a great job, honestly. Being a pundit is a great job. It looks great. It's fun. You see what CBS are doing. There's some personality coming through.
I don't think he's got
some
the vibes
jokes.
like that, though.
If he doesn't have the vibes, then I'm sure we can get him something a little bit more.
It's the serious, the laugh.
The serious ones, yeah.
Just
keep him in the
That's not vibes, is it?
keep him in the UK. I don't know, man. There's just no more management for him. Well,
Ever.
Not at my club.
Yes, of course. Not
The
your
rest
club.
of you, good luck, but not me. We're not doing that.
Let us know in the comments.
We're not
Should
doing
Frank
that either.
Lampard ever manage again?
He can manage again,
Premier
just
League
not at this level.
Championship.
Not at this level. He can manage again. Like, he'll definitely be able to get a job somewhere, but he's not. He can't manage at this level again. Like, not the next job. He needs to go and prove himself. I think just because he's got legendary status doesn't mean that he can not have his full UEFA license. Like, go and get your pro license. Go and get the qualifications. Like, you're clearly not good enough as a coach. Forget about forget about the squad being too big. Forget about the fact that, yes, it's a difficult situation. You tactically as a coach, you're not good enough. And if you don't see that, then I don't know. The ego is crazy.
The Good Beats really agrees with you here. He says Lampard living off his footballing reputation, nothing to do with his coaching ability. DeLong saying Lampard has to go abroad. His reputation in England is gone as a manager. AJ says, I'm with Matisse. Thank God it's all over on Sunday. I'm sure that you're the same, AGT. We all need a reset. Cheers for the content this season. Woota, I think
the media in this country cuddle him and cradle him because he's a legendary figure and he's generational. He's Lampard, and his playing career speaks for itself. I'm always going to love him as a player and what he did for the club. But if this was another manager doing this madness, he would be getting absolutely hammered, questioned. Do you guys remember when Ten Hag was basically being brought to the court in Sky to do an interview with Gary and Carragher and to be asked questions about how he's dealing with situations? Like, he was interviewed. But with Frank, we don't know.
Just seems to get away with
what's
it.
going on. We don't want to ask him about his
can't
tactics.
hide. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Because
well, actually, no. Do go somewhere.
Do go somewhere. Go anywhere.
Go anywhere.
Score prediction for this one, just quickly. Newcastle have won their final league match in 7 of the last 8 seasons, with the exception being a 3-1 home loss to Liverpool in 2020. Callum Wilson, as we know, 4 goals in the Premier League in London this season. The only player to score more than that in a single campaign, Peter Beardsley, who netted 6 in 1994. I'm going for a resounding Newcastle win. I don't think they're on the beach. I still think Eddie Howe will keep them composed and not allow them to become complacent, even though it's the last game of the season. Massive pre-season now for Newcastle coming up. Need big signings to deal with that Champions League excursions that they'll be having, and I am jealous, as are you probably. But let's give this one 2-0 Newcastle.
I agree.
And it could end up being Chelsea's 17th defeat of the season. Has it ever been that bad? I don't think. Well, it hasn't.
Not for me, it hasn't.
Not for you. 11 wins, 10 draws, 16 Premier League defeats. All right. I'm going 2-0 to the Geordies.
Same. 2-0 to the Geordies.
2-0.
Yep.
Matty Renton will be buzzing. Let's move on to Brentford versus Manchester City. Again, dead rubber, but Erling Haaland has scored 5 of Manchester City's 9 Premier League goals in London this season. Sergio Aguero and Edin Dzeko also had 5 in previous seasons. Brian Mbeumo has been brilliant this season, involved in 6 in his last 6, 4 goals and 2 assists, looking to score in 3 consecutive league games for Brentford for the first time since December 2019. It's going to be a lot of rotation. Brentford are dealing or are future-proofing themselves by dealing with life without Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
We heard today that he had a succession of bets betting on his own team to lose. He has also admitted he has an addiction. and I'm hearing it would have been 12 months, but because he admitted the addiction, it was moved down to 8 months. So quite messy, that case now, really. And I think he tweeted something saying he's going to speak soon. Can you see Brentford surprise at all?
Brentford have been surprising a lot of teams this season. I think they've picked up big wins on the road, especially at the Etihad. If you remember, that was a brilliant performance.
Yeah, it was.
So Brentford against Man City. Man City are in a situation now where they've been on the piss for I don't know how long. Pep said they drank all the alcohol in Manchester. They do have massive.
I wonder why Jack Grealish didn't play against Brighton.
Yeah. Of course.
On the ale, Jack.
He's gone and done a madness, and they deserve it, man, because it's been a long season for them in terms of pushing for this title and getting over the line. But they do have 2 massive cup finals to come. I do think it'll be a rotated team again because he doesn't want to pick up any injuries. So I think Brentford could take something out of this. I'll give them a draw. I'll say maybe a 1-1.
1-1, City's final game of the season. They could end up with a total of 92 points.
Yeah. What performance from Mbeumo last week as well against Tottenham. He was ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
1 assist and 2 goals.
And you know, with is it Shade up front as well? Shady. Slim Shady. Will the real Shadys please stand up? He looks very good as well. The number 9 that they've obviously brought in to, again, deal with life after Ivan. So, do you know what? This one for me, it's got a bit of a dead rubber written all over it. Brentford sitting very, very comfortably in 9th. Yeah. Could go above Tottenham if they win and Tottenham lose. They could end up on 59 points, even end up in 7th if Villa lose as well. So I'm going to go 1-1. A small glimmer. And you know what? They deserve it. But I'm going to give them a 1-1 draw in this one, Matisse. Let us know what you think to that one in the comments. Aston Villa versus Brighton and Hove Albion. That is not their accent at all, but I don't know why I said it and enjoyed the accent, but there you go. Ollie Watkins, 14 Premier League goals this season. Christian Benteke, the last Villa player to net more in a single campaign, with 19 in 2013. Jacob Ramsey turns 22 on the day of the game. The last Aston Villa player to score a Premier League goal on their birthday, Julian Joachim, in September 97. Did you know that one? Of course you didn't. No player in the division has scored on their birthday in the final match of the season before. Random stat, which has no implications on the game. However, this game, for me, what a game this is. Actually, when you think about it, this is important, this one, because it's Conference the battle of 6th versus 7th. It's at Villa Park. Who takes the final spot?
Well, Brighton not playing anything because they've qualified for Europa League.
Yep.
So they can just enjoy. Aston Villa do need to win if they want to confirm Conference League because Tottenham are right behind them. And they're at home. So I'm going to give Aston Villa the win. I think I'm going to go 2-1 to Aston Villa. Very good team. They beat Newcastle at home as well not so long ago. Battered them. Yeah. So they can pull out big results, Aston Villa. They're a very good team. Obviously played against you guys as well at Anfield. So yeah, I'm going to give Aston Villa the win. They're the ones playing for something. So I'm going to go over 2-1.
Just a quick word on De Zerbi. We saw Pep Guardiola with glowing comments about the Italian manager.
Yeah.
Where's he next season? Does he take
he'll be at
Brighton into Europe and then maybe reassess his options
100%, 100%. I think even his Shakhtar Donetsk time was quite short, and I think he recently enough said that he doesn't want to hop from job to job. So he's only just arrived at Brighton because he didn't even do a full season because obviously Potter was there for the beginning. So I think he'll want to see the fruits of his labour, and he'll want to take this Brighton team into Europe. He's got them playing brilliant football. They are going to have to replace a couple of key players. There's going to be some transfers because obviously Caicedo, McAllister, Levi Cole will come back on the loan. But with the recruitment team that they've got, and in Ciso and all these guys that just keep popping up, you would trust them to replace those guys fairly well. And I think he's up for the challenge. I think he's at a really good club right now, and I think he'll want to kind of consolidate and go through a rough patch, because my biggest reservation with him was he's done so well that we don't know the other side of him. Like, we don't know what he's like after a 3, 4, 5 winless game run or something like that, which can happen at Brighton. I'm sure it will happen, especially when you're going from Thursday to weekend. That task of dealing with league and European football in the same campaign, in this competitive league as well with Brighton, might not have the biggest of squads. Like, it's going to be a challenge. So him going through that and dealing with that, I want to see it, because right now De Zerbi's stocks are only going up, and rightly so. He's playing brilliant football, he's winning games, he's got Brighton in their highest ever place finish, he's taken them to Europe. But there's the other side of management, which is the lows, and that's when you really learn about a manager. So I need to see that, and I think he would need to go through that before he takes a top job, because you don't want your first bad experience to be under the limelight, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. He is buzzing by getting them into sixth. They were a lot further down in the league when he took over in January. Unbelievable, really, when you look at what he's achieved. Or not January, it was
early. Yeah, it was
September, October time.
I think it was. Yeah.
Brilliant tactician, and he's stood strong when it comes to facing up to the big characters in the dressing room, the Trossards. How he's dealt with that situation, the Caicedos, and the rest. You know, he's definitely one to keep an eye on for the future. Maybe even Chelsea in the future. Who knows? I'm going with a 2-1 Brighton away win. Randomly enough.
Okay, I'm going with Aston Villa 2-1.
Yeah, we'll swip it up. Right, Arsenal versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. This game a couple months ago, we were seeing people pricing up tickets for this game around £20,000. Matisse, they were thinking this is the game that Arsenal bring it home, lift the trophy at the Emirates, and do their big parade. That is a great
business model. I should have got my hand on some tickets and sold them.
Mate.
Imagine selling that ticket for 20k for this capitulation. You've made a king's ransom off a game that is nothing. It means nothing. It's quite incredible.
Wolves are the lowest scoring side in the Premier League this season. 31 goals, Matisse. It's not even a goal a game.
That's what they do, though. And
it is what they do, but they stay up.
They've always got injuries up top as well, so it's not surprising.
But they've done well to stay up. Yeah. If they fail to score in this game, it will be their lowest ever tally. Whilst the last time the lowest goal scorers in a season weren't relegated, it was Huddersfield Town. Wolves are winless in the last 7 Premier League away games. A very long run, aggregate score of 10-1. They've not lost 4 in a row on the roads since December 2011. But Arsenal have won 25 Premier League games this season, only winning more in their title-winning campaigns of 02 and 04, both 26. However, the Gunners have lost and failed to score in the last 2 games, having only failed to find the net in 2 of their 35 this term. Dead rubber, the new kit will be on show. Nice kit.
Nice kit. I do like the home kit.
Seem to hit the nail on the head.
The away kit looks very disgusting.
Yes, it does. And we have done a video. I did a video on DR Sports where I've kind of summed up and reviewed all the leaked and official home kits for next season. So make sure you go and watch that. I am going for a fairly run-of-the-mill 2-0 Arsenal win here.
I'm going to go...
Which would mean nothing, obviously.
I'm going to go 3-0. I think the Arsenal players owe it to their supporters a little bit to just...
Finish on a high. I think it's a give and take with the supporters. I think the supporters walking out early against Brighton, I can understand it because it was such a poor second half, like it was really bad. But at the same time as well, you have to remember that Arsenal have given you a lot this season. Like they have given you a big campaign in the Premier League. It has ended in disappointment. They have gone out of all the cups, but you can't walk away from the season thinking that this team have not given everything. Like they really have tried their very best. They've capitulated. They've folded under the pressure. It's human nature to do that, especially in your first title race. I'm not surprised. They are a young team. People don't want to hear those excuses because obviously they've been waiting for a title for 20 years, but you have to remember that this team has not been here for 20 years. Like this team is not at fault for the season. Some of them aren't even 20 years old.
Exactly. They're like this team are not at fault for all of the years of failure. And I think when you go through such a long period without winning a Premier League, you do kind of put it all together and say, right, I'm angry with everyone. But this team, they've only just started this journey, isn't it? So you can't blame them for everything before then that they had no control under. Same with Arteta. So they need to kick on next year in a different way because they've got Champions League. But I think, they need to finish on a high, because if you don't want to finish on a bad result and potentially sour grapes going into the summer, and then maybe the first game of the season, the mood at Arsenal is once again off to a bad note, because that tends to be, apart from this season, how it usually is, isn't it? It comes, they're usually annoyed.
They end up bad.
They're usually annoyed with the summer window, and the first game of the season, there's usually grumblings. It's only this season where it's been a good mood. So I think they just need to get it done.
Yeah, massive summer for Arsenal in the future. Can they bring in some big names and take themselves from second to first? Listen, it's not easy, I'll tell you that. 2-0 Arsenal I'm going for, and that wraps up all of the 10 Premier League games that kick off at 4:30 on Sunday. We'll have them all here for you on the Saturday Football Show. Let's talk briefly about the playoff final tomorrow, potentially the most expensive game of football there is in the whole world. We're talking £100 million up for grabs in parachute payments and injections to the club. If Luton go up, they are needing huge improvements on their stadium. It's rumoured that they'd need to spend 12 million to meet the Premier League regulations of what a stadium needs. And of course they play Coventry, who have been in the Premier League before, but this is Luton's first ever appearance in a Football League playoff final, with their 2-0 win over Sunderland in the second leg of the semi-final, their first ever victory in an EFL playoff game. They featured in 2 playoff finals in the non-league, losing to Wimbledon and York, whereas Coventry have never lost a playoff match before, winning 2 of their previous 3-1 against Leicester in 2018, and Luton are unbeaten in their last 9 meetings with Coventry in all comps. So Luton, as we know, looking to reach the Premier League for the first time, with their most recent top flight season coming in '92 when they finished bottom of the table. That of course was the year, the following season was the year the Premier League started. And Coventry haven't been around in the top flight since 2001 under Gordon Strachan. The stats read well for Coventry, but they also read well for Luton in facts that show that they haven't lost in 9 against Coventry. So I'm going to be at this one. DR Sports will be covering this one tomorrow. We'll be at Club Wembley doing the fan cams after. So if you are a Luton or a Coventry fan, make sure you come over and speak to us after. You send me a message. How do you see this one going, and who do you want to see in the Premier League out of these 2?
I'm quite happy to see either of them, because there's a lot of football heritage going on here. Obviously Coventry has been a very, very long time, 2 decades more, so it'll be, and they're ready to win the stadium for sure. But Luton have had the better. I haven't been watching Championship football, but apart from glimpses of Ian Matson at Burnley, but they finished with a 10-point gap to Coventry. So just overall in the season, that tells me they've had a better season. They've been performing better overall. I would like to see Luton come up purely because it's their first time.
You just want to see that rickety old stadium.
I do, and it brings character to the Prem. It brings in a time where a lot of the modern stadiums kind of look similar, and everybody's got all these top tier facilities. It would be nice to see Luton, who, let's be real, they were in League 2. They were like really low down in the Football League. That's why the stadium's kind of like this. But they've just propelled themselves upwards, and I would love to see Haaland going through those entrances and humbler. Football is a humbler for some of those players. It would be good. It would be a mad away day. It would be a mad away day. It would be a mad atmosphere. And it just brings variety to the Prem. I like variety. I like
what the Prem needs.
Yeah, it is what the Prem needs. Like, I like it when the Premier League is what it should be, which is, yes, we've got the big juggernauts and we've got the big stadiums and we've got the big clubs, but we've also got these clubs that, like Luton, that, let's be real, this is an insane achievement if they get up, and it just completes the Prem. It's the same way I don't want everybody to play the same style of football. Like, it's great to see most teams now playing the Brighton way, and Burnley are going to come up playing a certain way. But I do like your long throws and your direct, and it just keeps it interesting, keeps it nice variety. It's good.
100%. Listen, Kenilworth Road, 10,000 capacity, opened over 100 years ago. By the way, it's one of the smallest pitches you can find in the EFL as well. So let us know in the comments who you want to go up, who you don't want to go up. And they were non-league in 2014. When you actually look at Luton's trajectory across the last 11 years, how they've gone from non-league to League 2, League 1, Championship, it's a very good structure. It's a very respected structure. It's a strategy that they've kept, and it could end them up in the Premier League. It gives hope to all of
those teams down there.
It really does.
It really does. Like, it's the same story with kind of like a Jamie Vardy, where you was like, this guy's gone from non-league football to become a Premier League winner, Golden Boot, break these records. I think every now and then football needs a story like that. It's what people invest in, especially in those lower leagues. So for me, to see a team go through the divisions like that, it's good for football, and I would definitely encourage it.
Will it be
happening often?
the Hatters, or will it be the Sky Blues going up into the Premier League? Make sure you're across that game. Kick off at 4:45 tomorrow from Wembley. As I said, I will be there, and if you're at the game, make sure you come over and say hi, and we can do some content. But there you go. Quick prediction for that one. Does it finish in 90 minutes? Does it go to penalties? The £100 million game, Matisse.
Like I said, I haven't watched them, so I'm not too clued up on who should win this game. But like I said, the points is there maybe in the table to give you an indicator. I'm gonna go with Luton to win it. I would like them to win it. I'll go over 2-1 Luton win, but it really is anybody's game. It's a final.
Ooh, yeah.
They're both going to be putting their lives on the line for this massive opportunity for both clubs.
I'm gonna go Cov.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Cov. One of my mates who I went uni with, her dad used to play for Cov.
Okay.
Marcus Hall in the Premier League. So I'm gonna go with Cov. Just about, even though I'd say, considering this season, Luton have finished 10 points above them, so maybe Cov are the underdogs for this one. But listen, I'd like to see it. I want to see a great game of football, and I'll be looking forward to that at Wembley tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, from myself, AGT, and from Matisse, this is, as we said, the last game day preview of the whole entire season on DR Sports. Make sure you smash that like button, comment, and make sure you join us on Sunday for the Sunday Football Show, the last one of the season. Matisse, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure as always, my friend. Take care. See you Sunday. All the best.